Hello everyone, and welcome to my Wrath of the Lich King beta testing part 3. I'm so overwhelmed about all the positive feedback these videos get, and also the amount of people who decide to subscribe to the channel, so thank you for this. Today I'll be showing so many new things, but also something for those of you who plan to dungeon level, and also for those of you who plan to level the profession engineering. By the end of this video, you will probably be a bit more happy. In Berean Thundra, you can find this dragon, and when you speak to this, you will also discover a new flight path. Because of this, you will now for some reason be able to fly to Caldera without completing any of the quests nearby. So you can fly to Caldera, pick up a few quests, do these, and then you will be able to pick up the dungeon quest for the dungeon, the Nexus. Some of you would also like me to test if rogues are able to learn axes. When I spoke to this trainer, my rogue were able to learn one-hand axes, so I can confirm that this will be doable in Wrath of the Lich King. Maybe also in the pre-patch, I can't confirm this yet. In the previous video, I mentioned you needed an item from the final boss in a raid in order to get the achievement instantly in the pre-patch. But it seems like this will not be the case, because on this character I've unlocked a lot of different dungeon and raid achievements, and on this character I don't have any items from the final boss, not even from anything inside the dungeon or the raid. So hopefully this will also be the case in the pre-patch, so you will unlock a lot of these achievements instantly. For those of you who has leveled engineering, you might also have chosen between the Nomis and the Goblin Engineering skill. Right now in Burning Crusade, you need to unlearn your engineering in order to learn the other specialization. But in Wrath of the Lich King, you will be able to find a book in Tenaris, and when you speak to this, you can pay 150 gold to unlearn your specialization. This also allows you to not re-level your engineering, but pick the other specialization. So in order to re-pick your specialization and not re-level your engineering, you need to pay a total of 150 gold. This will save you a lot of gold, as you don't need to re-level your engineering. And you can always pay another 150 gold to change your specialization back to Nomis engineering. In the previous video, I showed the arena PvP vendors in Nagrand, but people also told me to head to area 52 to check the vendors there. In this area, they have removed all the PvP vendors, but maybe at some point they will implement some new vendors on the beta. If they introduce new vendors, I'll definitely include it in another beta testing video. Will you be able to stack the different scrolls in Wrath of the Lich King? It seems like this will not be possible, because when I use the scroll of agility, but also scroll of strength at the same time, it tells me I'll only be able to use one of these effects at a time. Back in the original Wrath of the Lich King, they introduced the Glyph of a Venom, but this was only for a short time before they removed it again. Therefore, some of you would like to know if it's going to be in the beta and if it's going to be in Wrath of the Lich King, and I can tell you this Glyph will not be added into the game. At the beginning of Wrath of the Lich King, and for a long time, the level 60 raid Onyxia's Lair was still in the game. But at some point later in the expansion, they introduced a level 80 version and removed the level 60 version. On the beta right now, I'm not able to get into the level 60 version, so it seems like the level 60 version will not be accessible at the launch of Wrath of the Lich King. Maybe this is going to be changed, also because the level 80 version should not be there at the launch, because the items you got in the raid were way better compared to tier 7 raids. Some of you would also like to know if you could track herbs and veins at the same time. So if you could level herbalism, but also mining without having to swap in between the two different tracks. I've tried so many different things, and macros included, but sadly I can't make it work, so you need to do this manually and choosing between finding herbs and finding minerals. In the previous video, I explained that your Stormwind City, but also Orgrimmar reputation will have an impact on the price for your epic flying skill and epic flying mount. Therefore, some of you are also wondering about the amount of reputation you will have on a fresh Death Knight who has only done the starting zone quest. By completing all the starting zone quest chains, you will get a total of 6,000 reputation at the final quest. So this is 6,000 reputation plus the one that you see on the screen right now. This will allow you to reach Honored, and therefore there should also be a 10% discount on your flying skill and flying mount. A lot of you would also like to know about snapshotting in Wrath of the Lich King, and especially as a warlock. So on this warlock, I decided to activate my trinket followed by a dot. Because this trinket boosts my spell power on the warlock, it will also make the dot more powerful whenever the trinket is active. But what will happen when the trinket expires? Will the damage on the dot still be high, or will it be reduced? A few seconds before the trinket is about to expire, I reapply a new dot. The damage of this dot remains the same even when the trinket expires. So it seems like whenever you use all your cooldowns and just a few seconds before they're about to expire, you need to reapply all your dots. Because of this, you will also be able to optimize your DPS even further, and people who do this will definitely do more damage compared to people who doesn't take advantage of this. Therefore, I also tested this with damage over time abilities as a Death Knight. And in this clip, I applied them just before the trinket was about to expire, and the damage on the dot is high. The moment the trinket is expired and I reapply a new dot, the damage will also be lowered. At the first attempt, I applied the damage over time when the buff was about to expire, and when it expired, it kept ticking for around 200 damage. At the second attempt, I didn't have an active buff when I applied the damage over time, and therefore it was only ticking for around 170. Some of you are also curious if this will apply to the Death Knight pets. Therefore, I tested this with the active trinket. In this clip, I activated the gargoyle when I had the attack power boost. But will this even benefit the gargoyle? This we will find out in a moment. Right now it deals between 650 to 670 damage whenever it casts the green slime. In the next clip, I don't have improved attack power, but instead I use a trinket that increases my haste. The damage with the green slime is definitely lower, but then again I also increased my haste when I used the gargoyle, and this will also benefit the gargoyle because now it's casting way faster. So yeah, your pet will benefit from the buffs even when it expires. Back in Burning Crusade, consumables used to stack as 5. So for example 5 mana potions, 5 healing potions, or 5 flasks or scrolls. In Wrath of the Lich King, this number will change from 5 into a stack of 20. So you will be able to carry way more consumables before you need to head back to the auction house or bank to pick up some more. A lot of you would also like me to test Shadow Melt combined with the rogue talent Overkill. And if you could use Shadow Melt to get out of combat, use a stealth and then get the Overkill buff. When I tested this in a duel, I was able to use Shadow Melt to get out of combat, followed by stealth, a cheap shot, and then I would get the Overkill buff. The same person was also so kind to help me test this in a dungeon, so if both of us is in combat and I use Shadow Melt, will it then be able to get out of combat, use a stealth and get the buff. Sadly, you will not be able to use this trick in PvE, because you will be in combat no matter what, so you need to use a Vanish in order to get the Overkill buff. I still have so many different things that I need to test, for example if you're able to get into zones where you usually need a flying mount. But I would still like to also test a lot of other things that you people would like me to test, so make sure to let me know this in a comment below the video. This is also going to be the end of the third part. If you haven't already watched part 1 and 2, then I highly suggest you to watch those. As always, thank you for watching, and have an amazing day. Peace.